Hello and welcome to Hot Mic. Well, elections in Tamil Nadu are just around the corner and things are hotting up. So today I have with me a Congress MP from the state. He's the Lok Sabha MP from Shivaganga. One of the most articulated and, if I may say, underused voices from the Congress benches. Good to have you here, Karti.
Always a pleasure, Priya.
In fact, we have you on a lot of issues, but first I'm going to talk to you about what is happening in your state, the elections, and of course the X factor in the elections, the new candidate. But let's talk about the Congress-DMK alliance. Why did it take so long for it to be announced?
See, it's an old relationship. The relationship was forged in 2004 by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and the late Chief Minister Kalingar Karunanidhi. So we have fought many elections together. Barring the 2014 election, we have been together in all elections and have had success in most elections. But of course, there are expectations and there are limitations. And expectations sometimes don't meet the limitations. And so they had for the meeting point to happen. And there was a little bit of a public posturing, but all is well now. We have come to an agreement. We are contesting 28 seats. In fact, our candidate list will be out soon as well. And so the election juggernaut is rolling along. We are the larger alliance. And traditionally in Tamil Nadu, the larger alliance always wins. And I think the Chief Minister has shrewdly put together a large alliance in order to make sure that, to overcome the natural anti-incumbency, which is there in every government and every political structure.
Now you're putting a spin. Large alliance and not shrewdly, but also I think because the Congress took so long to decide which side it's on.
No. I don't think there was any doubt where the Congress would be. There was some loud thinking by certain members of our party, but I
like loud thinking. That's a nice word.
There was never any attempt to. There was no formal discussion with anybody else. We were firmly with the DMK. We were firmly with the India bloc. And as I said, there were expectations and they have limitations, and it took time for both to meet.
Karti, you're being politically correct, which is very unlike you, because the loud thinking, as you talked about, was by a lot of people from Delhi known to be close to Rahul Gandhi, who were also following their own agenda. Somebody wanted a Rajya Sabha seat, somebody who did not get along with DMK, advocating a tie-up with the new kid on the block, TVK. And then it took Mr. Chidambaram, your father himself, who went and met the DMK, and that sealed the alliance.
See, as I said, we are a large party. People will have diverse opinions. I mean, how can we expect everybody to think alike? And the party has not been in government for 60 odd years, and so we will explore all options which are practically possible on the electoral field. So it's you can't blame people for having a diverse view, but eventually we have come to a conclusion. We have come to an agreement with the alliance is continuing. Seats have been identified, and we're just awaiting a candidate selection. And all other parties have selected their candidates. Only the two national parties, because of the mechanism in which they select candidates, takes a little longer. We'll announce it in good time because we still have time to file nominations, and we'll be fully fired up and raring to go for the campaign.
There is, in this campaign is DMK driven. So are you, the feedback on the ground is that there is some concerns about unemployment. There is also, the usual anti-incumbency. But Stalin himself is, well liked. So
see, these are all normal issues in every election. I mean, we never, in fact, if you go through every election, pretty much there are a certain amount of core issues which will keep getting repeated in every state and in every national election. I mean, that is the sad reality of Indian politics. We don't outgrow certain issues, ease of living, unemployment, the state of the economy, infrastructure. These are things which keep coming back time and again in every election and in every state. So nothing new about it. The Chief Minister is popular, and he's got a bit of an elder statesman image in Tamil Nadu. He's not been offensive to anybody. He's been a consensus builder, and his popularity, if I may say, is greater than the popularity of his own party. So he's got a certain pull, and people will evaluate who they want as Chief Minister. Tamil Nadu always votes for Chief Ministers, and they will see. People will make a choice among the four formations which are there to see who they want as Chief Minister, and I think. After careful consideration, I think the incumbent Chief Minister will come back to office again.
What about EPS? He's also gaining in popularity. Was AIDMK never an option for the Congress?
No, I don't think EPS is gaining in popularity. He's not, while he's consolidated his position within the ADMK, he's not yet become a mass leader in the sense of the previous leaders of the ADMK was. No, the Congress, I don't think, they were firmly with the BJP camp. I think all this speculative talk of the Congress exploring other political formations is only speculative. There was nothing conclusive. Nobody spoke to anybody formally. The Congress was firmly in the India bloc, and we came to an understanding within the India bloc. So I think all that loud thinking, speculation, all that is all behind us now.
But historically speaking, the Congress AIDMK alliance, they've also aligned with them earlier. What were the issues and problems then that you could not go back?
The ADMK Congress alliance actually did spectacularly well historically, but that alliance got soured because of Jayalalitha. I mean, her demeanor and her style of functioning is what pushed the Congress out, and that is why the TMC was born in 1996. I mean, 30 years ago. In fact, the ADMK and the Congress is a storied alliance, but that's long gone. It's because of the overbearing attitude of Jayalalitha, the way she dealt with the Congress party. But then the Congress party split, and a part of the Congress party aligned, the rump which was left behind, which was the Congress, and the TMC went to the DMK. But that rump did not do well with the thing. But then everybody came together and they had alliance with the ADMK. But since 2004, the Congress is firmly with the TMK, barring 2014.
I remember I was with Sunday Magazine at that time, and Jayalalitha had gone to jail, and one of the interviews, she said Chidambaram is going to come to jail and put cockroaches in my jail or some nonsense like that.
She was quite a melodramatic woman, but I mean, she had many talents. She still has admirers in Tamil Nadu, but she was also quite melodramatic, and I think, it didn't really live up to her full potential. She was quite talented, she was very articulate, spoke multiple languages, but if she had the temperament and the grace, I think she could have gone even higher in politics.
Fair enough. Now we have this new kid on the block, TVK's Vijay. I know you're fed up of him. Everybody, are we speculating? Is he like another Prashant Kishore? Yashwant Deshmukh says he's the Prashant Kishore of Tamil Nadu.
As I said, I've not changed my opinion about him. He's a popular movie star. He's seems to
Do
have
you
a
watch
very...
his movies?
No, I don't.
Not
I
that
don't watch
popular.
his movies. He's not my kind of movie star at all. So, no, I don't watch his movies. I think once I watched his movie partially, and that was it. And I couldn't carry
Sit
on
through
with
it.
I couldn't sit through it. No. So
That's the mind of the voter in Tamil Nadu.
No. I really couldn't see through that movie. He's got a raucous set of fans, and he seems to be obviously a popular movie star, attracts a lot of attention. But as I said, his organization doesn't have a command and control structure. He has announced candidates for all 234 constituencies. But acceptance of his candidates will only remain to be seen. I mean, there are most of them are first newcomers to politics. So that's fine. But do they have any kind of brand equity? Do they have any kind of social connect with their own constituencies? Remains to be seen. The preliminary report suggests that except for a handful of them, most of them are a little bit out of depth in their own constituencies. And that will get reflected as the campaign goes along. He will definitely get votes. I'm not discounting that at all.
So he'll be a spoiler.
Spoil whom will only depend on constituency by constituency, depending on the candidates he's putting. If the campaign collapses in a particular constituency, there might be a certain ramification. If the campaign takes off in a certain constituency with a credible candidate, the ramification could be exactly the opposite. So that only remains to be seen, but he will get votes. But seat conversion is a very long journey. Between popular support to vote to seats is a very, very long journey in politics.
Well said. Okay, there is also, as we talk today, is really the last day of the budget session, as the session is ending, the BJP, the government has sprung a surprise by reintroducing the women reservation bill. They're talking about delimitation. What is the Congress?
They haven't brought the bill as yet. This is again speculation, and I think they're suggesting they're going to have a special session in a couple of weeks' time in the middle of a campaign. I don't know what the logic of that is, how they're going to pull all MPs back, particularly from Bengal and Tamil Nadu. I mean, collectively we are over 80 MPs, and we'll have to come back to Parliament for those 2 days in the middle of a campaign. Maybe that's their strategy. Maybe they want to pull the MPs out of a campaign. But you see, my position on the women's reservation bill is very simple. I think nothing prevents us for reserving 1/3 of the seats as it stands today in Parliament. We don't need to go through a delimitation exercise. We definitely don't need to go through an exercise to increase parliamentary seats. I am firmly against a purely population-based delimitation exercise. If you ask me, do I have an alternative metrics? I don't have an alternative metrics. But, even to now, what they're suggesting, what I read in the papers is that They want to uniformly increase the parliamentary strength to each state by 50%, overall strength. That again is a bad idea, because I don't believe a larger parliament is a more effective parliament. I think a larger parliament will be less effective. As it is with 543 people, we hardly get any time to speak. We are sitting lesser days, there's no meaningful debate. With a parliament of over 800, I mean, we'll add about another 270 MPs more in this. If you go by 50%, it will only be unwieldy. I mean, there will be no meaningful debate. There will be no time. It will become like the People's Congress of China, or one of those parliamentary meetings in North Korea, where everybody comes and thumps desks and go away. There won't be any meaning. I don't believe a larger parliament or a larger number of MPs serves public discourse and debate better. So I believe in this parliament is enough. People think, oh, they need to have MPs for a certain number of people. But MPs are not executive authorities in the constituency. So they are not administering the district. The district is run by the state government and through the district administration. MPs are legislatures. And to have an effective debating chamber, I think you need to have only a limited number of MPs. And increasing it to 800 plus will only make it unwieldy. There won't be any time. There won't be any meaningful debate. It'll only, and all parties will vote according to party lines, and it will only be perfunctory passing of bills. And the gearing of parliament, even though you're increasing the seats proportionately, the gap between the south and the north, or even say the northeast and the north and some other smaller states, will only get wider.
How do you say that? Because now they're increasing it not by population but by the existing strength.
Correct. No, 50%. So, for example, Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry together is 40, 39 plus 1, and UP is 80. So, if you increase it by 50%, we go to 60.
Right.
They will go to 120. So, the gap, the number of MPs they have physically will be 60 more than the 40 more right now.
Maths equation. That's
So they will have the physical number will become wider.
Much wider.
And then to win elections, you only need to congregate all your resources and your campaign and concentrate it only in the Hindi heartland, and you can take over, which you can even do today, but it will be a much more of a pronounced gap just by the sheer numbers. And I don't think, as I said, increasing the number of MPs is not strengthening the quality of debate or discourse or democracy.
What does the Congress think of it? Will it oppose this move?
No, I want women's reservation for sure. Because
so they're linking it to both. That's
why do you want to link it? I think 543, let's go to each state, have a raffle, designate 1/3 of the seats on a rotational basis immediately for women. I'm ready for that. 39 seats in Tamil Nadu, 13 seats are reserved for women on a rotational basis. Every 3 terms, every 3 terms, a seat will become exclusively women.
Will become. But then that doesn't give the woman a chance to cultivate a constituency.
Why not? Doesn't prevent a woman from contesting the seat if she's establishing herself as a leader. It doesn't mean she has to vacate the seat for a man. She can contest in a non-reserved seat as well.
So you're giving her 3 elections to establish herself, and then
if you're establishing yourself as a strong leader, then establish her, take it forward. I think we must force that reservation. Linking it to all these kind of delimitation or increasing seats, according to me, is a tactic to stall it. There's nothing prevents us from doing it right away. The only parties which consistently give women a lot of seats are the TMC in Bengal and the BJD in Orissa. No other party does it. Even the Congress doesn't do it. I've been crying hoarse saying that women are not inferior candidates, and there's no reason why we should not give more women opportunities. And we should voluntarily do 1/3. Even if you can't do 1/3, at least do 20-25% right away, which we don't.
No, that is actually a very good solution that you suggested.
Do it right away. You don't need to tie it up to any other, special arrangement.
Well, another way of stalling or putting a point across is the Congress will do what, the Socialist Party said in the last time reservations came, like let's have quotas within quotas.
Yeah, now to say the minute you go into this delimitation and increasing seats, the South will not accept it because it disadvantages us even further. Because even though the ratio is the same, the physical number gets wider.
Okay. So can the South vote en bloc without?
Yes, I think they need a 2/3 majority to bring this change, and I doubt whether they have the numbers in both houses. They don't have 2/3 majority, and the southern parties, even their allies, will have serious doubts about it. Who wants to voluntarily go and vote and disenfranchise and diminish your weightage in parliament.
So let's watch how this plays out, because BJP, as you know, is very good at spinning narratives. So let's see how
but if they think
the
that
Congress
this is
can
somehow
counter
going
it.
to win a state election because they're trying to moot this before an election is wrong. And particularly in a state like Bengal, the TMC will announce or has announced significant number of women candidates.
Anyway, and Mamta is very popular with the women. I'm going to take a break and come back, and I want to talk to you a bit about the Iran war, because we've had Trump make his address. The war is not going to end anytime soon. So are we ready for that? That's something I'm going to ask you. Hello and welcome back to Hot Mic. We are in conversation with Karti Chidambaram, Congress MP from Shivaganga. We're talking to him about Tamil Nadu politics, but a step, let's take a step back and larger picture. The times we live in, we've heard Donald Trump, he's not ending this war anytime soon. How has India played this war? How do you see it?
See, we are an unfortunate bystander in this war. We really have no direct role in it, but we face the consequences, as everybody else in the world does. I mean, India, this is a war, an unwanted war, which has been thrust on the world by the United States at the urgings of Israel. There's only two countries which have provoked this war. There was no reason to go to war with Iran, even though they had certain security concerns. My understanding is the negotiations was going on rather well, with Oman being the intermediary, and they had agreed to pretty much most of the points which the US wants, but still the US went ahead and attacked Iran. And now you have a president who seems to be uncontrolled. There seems to be an institutional collapse in the United States, where the other institutions which are supposed to be a checks and balances to the imperial presidency, it doesn't seem to be, putting fetters on him. In fact, there have been protests in America, which I read, saying there are no kings protests are happening in America because they don't want this kind of imperial presidency. America was not, the American Constitution was not meant for an imperial presidency like this. There was supposed to be checks and balances, but obviously those checks and balances are not working, and the executive has just gone out of control, and the world is paying the price. And India is paying the price. I mean, India is not, nobody is looking towards India to be an intermediary in the war. India doesn't have the leverage to lean on either Israel or America and to tell them to stop, but we are paying the price, as everybody else is. And we depend on the supplies for energy from the Middle East. We also, our trade routes are through that Straits of Hormuz, and they're all getting affected, and that consequences will have a cascading effect in India. If can only fault the government of India is for not anticipating this. But I mean, who can anticipate Trump? I don't think anybody can anticipate Trump. But we should develop other supply chains to make sure that we don't have an energy crisis.
Which is what everybody is also saying, that the government is waiting till May 1st when the elections are over, and that's when the real crisis will hit us.
No, as I said, I would not say this is a crisis created by the government. This is a crisis which has been thrust upon India. Has it been thrust upon everybody else? The only thing the government can do is to develop other supply chains, either through Russia, Norway, or other parts of the world, and not completely be dependent on the Middle East. But then we've this trade deal by which we had said that we will not buy oil from Russia. Correct. But now they've got some sort of an exemption, which is ridiculous. How does the United States decide what we do or who we trade with? I mean, that if there was a failure on part of this government, was to catapult through the United States and to do the trade. Of course, that's not signed. That's only negotiation. Seems to be a negotiation or an intention. But we should not be dictated by the United States on what we do or who we trade with or what we do for our energy security. But energy security is very important. No country in the world can function without energy. And if there is an energy crisis, that will lead to all kinds of economic problems and social problems, and life as we know it can come to a slowdown, if not to a grinding halt.
That's the thing, but there is fear of a COVID type lockdown coming with.
No, I think that is all because of this April 1st
tamasha.
Tamasha. No. I mean, it is many things were going on yesterday, saying that Mr. Narendra Modi is having a press conference, and in Tamil Nadu people were saying that Vijay is going to have a press conference too. So that was the April 1st jokes which was going around. I don't think anybody is contemplating a lockdown, but the lack of fuel could lead to rationing. And that could be a complication. I mean, that it's really incumbent upon the government to augment energy supplies. But of course, that energy supplies which we are going after will also be facing pressure from other countries in the world.
Correct. So this is
I mean, this is not a crisis created by the government, but this is a crisis which the government has to deal with a cool head. And if there is anything I'll fault with is the initial acceptance of the American diktat of not buying oil from Russia. But I think we should just go back to our old suppliers and make sure those supply chains are working well and we are getting oil.
I'm sure that is something hopefully the government is working on. But there is also, the mirage of the Middle East, that is, of Dubai, that has been busted. How do you see that?
See, these things happen, I mean, people want security, and that's how markets grow. Markets don't grow in areas where there is conflict. And of course, 1 crore Indians live and work in the Middle East, not just ultra high net worth individuals, but people with ordinary jobs. And many states, particularly Kerala, depends so much on Middle Eastern foreign remittance. So, as I said, if any slowdown or any disruption to life in the Middle East will have effect in India as well. It will, because remittances will come down. Suppose those companies there go on a slowdown or lay off people, or say they only pay half salaries or anything like that, which they could, because they might not be having the normal business, and that will all have some sort of effect in India. I mean, it's a big effect in India, not just some sort of effect in India.
So, during this budget session, are you happy with the way the session was conducted?
I mean, initially it was a little very disruptive, but then members were suspended. Then we've come back to some sort of happy harmony. But this happy harmony has come when states are going for elections and almost 20% of the parliament is not
focusing,
there. Is not there. But there seems to be some balance. But the government, as I've always said, this government doesn't behave like a third-term government. This government must be supremely confident. They should not be worried about what the opposition wants to speak. And we should give us the space and the leeway to say whatever we want to say. And if it comes to vote, they can always vote us out. But to hide behind archaic technicalities on what is publication and not allowing the leader of the opposition to quote something, I think only betrays a grave sense of insecurity by this government, which is completely unnecessary. If I was a third-term Prime Minister, I'd be on top of the world. I'd let the opposition say whatever it wants to say and simply vote them out every single time.
But that is happening also in terms of parliament debates. They have the numbers, so whatever you say, end of the day.
Debates are meaningless in parliament because nobody's mind is being changed. Tell me one thing which has changed somebody's mind. The point is, we are voting according to party lines. We have a whip, so everybody votes according to party lines. No matter how persuasive your argument is, you're never going to change anybody's mind. So everything is preset.
Right.
So that is why. That's why I believe, and I think my colleague Manish Tiwari also has been advocating this much before me, that we should not have a whip on voting. Members should vote on their individual intelligence and conscience. The only time a whip must apply is to a vote of confidence. The rest of the time, we are thinking members and we must be free to take a decision. Yes, the party can collectively come to a decision, but every time to blindly only vote according to party lines. If the BJP members only vote according to party lines, what is the point of me making a very strong argument? For example, they are bringing the CAPF bill now, which is, in my opinion, very, very discriminatory to the people in the allied paramilitary forces, because they are deputing IPS officers to head them. I think career officers in those forces, in the CRPF, ITBP, BSF, the SSA, are all gravely discriminated. They don't get promotions. I mean, but I'm sure many BJP members also will agree to this. But they can't, because the government has bought the bill. They are obligated to vote according to the government, and I can never change anybody's mind. See, there are issues which are contentiously political. I understand that, where you have to stick to your political point. But there are lots of things which are not political. Even in that, you have to, the ruling party members have to toe the government's line. Where is the debate? Where is the changing of minds? That's the whole idea of parliamentary debate. Debate is, I should talk to you, you should talk to me, and either I must convince you or you must convince me. If both of us, after this, making great points, are going back to our own corners and sticking to our old position, what's the point of even having that conversation?
And that's why you have conversations like this where you can make your point.
But yes, I agree. That's why the debate is not to change minds, it's only to put your point of view for the rest of the world. But to be honest, people aren't paying attention to parliament anymore. Most people don't even know that parliament session is on. Even party workers sometimes do not know parliament is on. Parliament's functioning and relevance, unfortunately, has gone down tremendously.
That is true, and that is, I think, also because it's, is it because with the advent of television channels, people are posturing? Why do you think?
Yeah, because
just,
also, you know, before they would look forward to what's happening in Parliament and the proclamations coming from Parliament. Now with this 24/7 news, Parliament is again one more tidbit which is
Channel to
happening,
watch.
which is channel to watch, that's all.
But is there any issue that caught your fancy in this budget
there are
session,
many
or
things
some
we
of the
could have
decisions that you
spoken.
want to speak on, but you were not given a chance? Now's your chance.
No, I think this CAPF bill is it's bringing up today, but I have to go back to Tamil Nadu for my elections. But there are many issues we could have spoken about, and we could have, even the FCRA, which they are not bringing, but they intend to bring, that it's going to have chilling effect on civil society. You know,
What is this?
They are going to weaponize the FCRA exactly like the way they weaponize the PMLA. So anybody, any NGO or any international organization which receives international funding will come under tremendous scrutiny, and the organs of the state can really throttle them. So this government has got a view of total societal control. They don't want voices of dissent. So there are many things we can speak, but as I said, we can't change anybody's mind in Parliament. You can't change. I mean, I'm not just blaming one party. I don't think you can change our mind in Parliament as well, because we are also going to vote according to party lines. So unless you remove the whip and allow MPs to vote according to their intelligence and conscience, except for no confidence motions, otherwise why do you need thinking people in Parliament?
That's a very intelligent point. In fact, I hope more people hear this and listen to us, and maybe some kind of rethinking happens. I don't know.
But that also requires confident leadership to allow members to vote according to their conscience. And unfortunately, party leaderships want to have a tight leash on what the party does, and all parties. It's not a critique of a party. I mean, parties must allow members to express their opinion in Parliament, and that is the only way in which you will have to make persuasive arguments to win the mind and hearts of members. Otherwise, you are not winning the minds and hearts of members at all, because the member is already taken a position on how they are going to vote.
You're not allowed to. But then there are inner party forums for that, there should be. I mean, there are, but
we are not as structured as say the British political parties are within internally. There are formal and informal channels, but it's not structured the way I would want it to be. In no party, for example, even in the BJP's parliamentary board has become irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, at that one point of time, the parliamentary board was supreme, but I don't even read whether the parliamentary board is meeting or who the members are or when anything is being. Even the cabinet has been greatly diminished. Cabinet ministers do not know what's happening. It is really a PMO-driven government. The diktats come from the PMO, and the ministers just parrot it. I don't think ministers have any great authority here except for barring one or two.
I think that is a point well made. But on that note, we wish you all the best for the elections, and come back and we will have another conversation soon.
Post-election will be very interesting to talk about.
It is going to be fun, this election. But hope to see you on the campaign trail. But all the best, Karti Chidambaram.
You should come to Tamil Nadu.
Done.
Such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.